All right, y'all. Right now, I'm making the definitive guide to MAXD, or Max Sound Corporation, the company, and the lawsuit and the latest. So, y'all listen to 25-year-old YouTubers and their opinions on litigation all you want. I mean, I graduated from law school. I've been litigating for 11 years. I'm not an attorney. I went into business, but I have worked with and am working with different law firms and attorneys, and all I do is litigation. So, all right, so who's MAXD? All right, MAXD is engaged in activities to sell and license products and services based on its patent-pending MAXD HD audio technology for sound recording and playback that dramatically improves the listener's experience. So basically what they do is they're to HD audio what HD is to video. So they're basically the equivalent of HD, but for audio. So the company is currently working under its existing license with Qualcomm to implement into the Snapdragon series chip, and is completing an application that improves voice transmission on mobile devices. They're seeing that as a future revenue source, and this was last year, so the future is probably going to be in 2021 at some point. I expect to see some sort of revenue stream from them. So in Q2 of 2014, MAXD entered into an exclusive representation agreement with VSL Communications, making MAXD the sole representative to VSL to enforce its rights with respect to its patented technologies owned and controlled by VSL. Now, basically, VSL has acquired the license. MAXD has acquired the license to represent VSL. And what VSL's tech is optimized data transmission system and method, which enables end user licensees like YouTube to transport 100% of data bandwidth content in only 3% of the actual bandwidth. So with no loss in quality. So this represents a 33 times reduction associated with the transport cost and the time it takes for the video or digital content to be delivered to and viewed by the end user. So you guys watch YouTube videos, well, there it is. That's what's going on. So, and data transmission is one of YouTube's and Google's biggest expenses. So, and I believe MAXD will likely gain the ability to license this technology and profit off sales as their technology to improve audio transmission works with the compression technology owned by VSL. So VSL isn't the current owner. VSL, it's changed hands. So the patent has changed hands, but MAXD still retains the power. They have the power of attorney over the stock, so they get to, or over the technology and the lawsuit, so they get to figure out, how much they're suing for, when to settle, how much to settle for, whether or not to go to trial, that kind of stuff. So, and that's very important. And they said also in their statement that currently there have been significant settlement talks that have occurred. So Google, and Google, by the way, lost the patent round. So Google challenged the sound, not MAXD's patent, but they challenged the patent that MAXD is defending, and they lost that. So they're appealing that currently, but currently they lost it. So the patent's good and it's owned. MAXD has the right to enforce it. So how did Google obtain this technology? Well, when they engaged VSL's engineers under a non-disclosure agreement to talk about what VSL could do for YouTube and Google and etc. Google then just stole the technology and started using it. So that's what happened there. So, so what's it worth? Well, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, who are Google's founders, they approved an executive summary that stated that this technology was worth $120 billion annually to Google. Google's market cap is $1.4 trillion. So what they do? They just admitted damages. They're not conceding that that the patent is there and all that stuff, but there's an admission of damages right there. So now there's multiple cases here. And just because at one stage, the case is dismissed doesn't mean that that's not appealed or not re-entered anyway. So, and certain cases have been dismissed here and there, but here we are, still litigating. So, one of the cases right now is a RICO case, which is a Contract and Racketeering Act. And who's litigating on MAXD's behalf? Well, basically, the understudy to the guy that wrote the fucking act. excuse me, the guy that wrote the act is, or the understudy, the guy that wrote the act, who worked under him, and that's not being, litigated on a contingency basis, but MAXD is paying for that, but the other case is being litigated on a contingency basis. Now, and concerning the other case, and which is the main case, this is the first time I ever heard patent attorneys taking on a contingency case, which means they get paid when the case settles or a successful trial. So what's going on now with MAXD in litigation? Right now they're in discovery, and discovery is a process where each party ask the other parties to produce, documents, technology information, and also includes deposition to parties. And sooner or later, the CEO and CFOs of Google will be deposed. Discovery's been going. It takes a few years, but it's already been going on. They've already made depositions of some of the underlings. So what's next? Okay. Well, the court has requested that the scheduling of a case management conference. So right now, the parties in about 3 to 6 months will have a date set for, within a couple of months, they'll set a date for the case management conference, which will be 3 to 6 months off from now. At the case management conference, the parties discuss where they're at in discovery and where they're at in the lawsuit. And then also at the case management conference, typically, the trial date is set. So at some point this year, we will have a trial date. The trial date will likely be in 2022, but we will have a trial date set this year. So, I think is very significant. Another statement from, MAXD has secured the potential to profit therefrom as the power of attorney to negotiate and approve final financial deal with Google on behalf of its rights holders in either settlements or licensing agreements, both of which have been in and out of negotiation for the past 7 years. So, that's fine. Google has 1,000 lawyers. And I am in this till the ugly, bitter, vicious end. And that end is the moon.